The content presented in these videos is strictly for entertainment purposes and should not be misconstrued as an attempt to deceive or falsify information. The portrayal of guests in these videos is based on likeness and should not be regarded as a serious representation of their thoughts, opinions, or character. These videos aim to showcase the advancements in AI technologies and should be viewed only for inspiration. Hello and welcome to today's interview, where we have the privilege of talking to the late Paul Walker, a name that will forever be remembered in the world of entertainment. With his charming smile, captivating on-screen presence, and adventurous spirit, he left an indelible mark in Hollywood during his lifetime. Paul first came to prominence in the late 90s with his role in the popular TV series Pleasantville, but it was his role in the Fast and the Furious franchise that truly catapulted him into stardom. Over the years, we've watched him evolve as an actor, starring in a diverse range of films that showcased his versatility and range, from the poignant drama Hours to the high-octane thriller Running Scared. But beyond his artistic achievements, Paul Walker was also widely known for his philanthropic work and his passion for marine biology. He was committed to giving back to society and making a positive impact on the world, and his legacy of charitable work continues to inspire people around the globe. Today, we have the privilege of looking back at Paul's incredible life and the remarkable work he did during his time on this earth. Join us for this heartfelt conversation as we pay tribute to a true industry icon, Paul Walker. Paul, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Paul, you've had a fantastic career in Hollywood with some unforgettable roles that have endeared you to millions. Fans around the world hold you in high esteem, and your work has had a profound impact on the film industry. Today, I want to get to know a bit more about your upcoming projects and what you are most excited about in the near future.
Thanks for having me. There are a few projects I'm working on, but the one that excites me the most is called Brick Mansions.
Tell me more about this project. What drew you to it?
Well, Brick Mansions is a remake of the popular French film District B13. I had seen the original, and I felt that it was a fantastic movie with lots of action, suspense, and drama.
What was your role in the film, and how did you approach your portrayal?
I play the protagonist, Damien Collier, who is a cop tasked with taking down a notorious drug dealer. The character is driven, intense, and passionate about his work and justice. I approached the role by doing a lot of research on how police officers work and how they approach arrests in high-risk situations. It was an incredible experience for me to work with such talented actors on this project.
Did you face any challenges while working on Brick Mansions?
Well, yes, there were some physical challenges. There were a lot of stunts involved in the shoot, and I had to prepare extensively. I spent a lot of time in the gym and worked with professional stunt coordinators to get ready. Also, the shoot was in Canada, and the weather was quite challenging. We had to shoot a lot of scenes in frigid temperatures, but despite these challenges, I had a lot of fun on set.
That sounds intense. What was your most memorable experience on the set of Brick Mansions?
One of the most memorable experiences for me was when we were filming a scene where I had to jump into a pool of water from several feet above. I had to do that stunt multiple times, and the water was freezing cold. It was so cold that I had a hard time catching my breath after diving in. Everyone on the set was incredibly supportive, though, and helped me through it. It was a bond-building experience for all of us, and I will never forget it.
Hi, Paul. It's great to have you here with us today. You have long been known for your successful acting career, but what is a lesser-known fact about you is that you also have a deep passion for humanitarian work and philanthropy. Can you tell us how you balance these two roles in your life, and what led you to get involved in humanitarian causes?
Yeah, for me, acting has always been a way to use my platform to help others. It's a great opportunity to spread awareness about the causes that I'm passionate about.
Can you tell us more about some of the causes that you have been involved with?
Yeah, sure. One of the organizations I worked with was ROW, Reach Out Worldwide. We did a lot of disaster relief work in Haiti after the big earthquake in 2010, and we also did work in Chile and Indonesia after the tsunamis there. It was a really rewarding experience being able to help people in their time of need.
That's incredible. What led you to get involved in humanitarian work?
Well, I had always been interested in doing something to help others. But it wasn't until I was filming Fast and Furious in New Orleans that I really saw the impact that disaster could have on people's lives. Hurricane Katrina had just happened, and it was devastating to see the damage and the hardship that it caused. It made me realize how fortunate I was, and I wanted to do something to help.
How do you balance your passion for acting with your commitment to philanthropic causes?
It's definitely a balancing act, but it's important to me to use my platform to make a positive impact. Sometimes it means taking time off from filming to work on a charity project or using my social media to help spread awareness. But I think that in the end, it's worth it to be able to make a difference in the world.
That's a really admirable perspective. Do you have any advice for young people who want to get involved in philanthropy but don't know where to start?
I would say just start small. Find an organization or a cause that you're passionate about and try to get involved in any way that you can. It doesn't have to be a big commitment at first, maybe just donating your time or raising awareness on social media. Every little bit helps, and the more you get involved, the more you'll see how rewarding it can be.
I'm here with the late, great Paul Walker. You were such an accomplished actor who had a passion for speed and also a visionary in the entertainment industry. Can you share with us what specific traits or qualities you believe are necessary for someone to be considered a visionary in this industry?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, I think visionaries in the entertainment industry have a few key qualities. One is a clear sense of purpose. You have to know what you are trying to achieve. The other is the ability to see beyond the immediate moment. You can't just focus on what's happening now. You have to think about the future and how the decisions you make today will affect things in the long run. I also think that a visionary needs to be willing to take risks and try new things.
Can you give us an example of how you applied these qualities in your own career?
Sure. When I was starting out as an actor, I had a clear sense of what I wanted to achieve. I wanted to be part of projects that inspired people and entertained them. I also knew that there was more to acting than just getting in front of the camera and reciting lines. I took the time to study the craft and work with great directors to learn my craft. I also took risks in my career by accepting roles that were outside of my comfort zone.
Can you give us an example of a specific project where you applied these qualities?
Sure. When I was offered the role of Brian O'Connor in The Fast and the Furious, I knew that it was a risk. It was a new kind of project, and I wasn't sure how audiences would receive it, but I also had a clear sense of purpose for the film. I wanted it to be more than just a car movie. I wanted it to be a story about friendship and family. So I took a risk and went all in. The film ended up doing really well, and I'm proud of the work we did.
Can you share another example?
Sure, when I was producing Running Scared, I wanted it to be more than just another action movie. I wanted it to be a film that challenged audiences and explored some complex themes. So we took a big risk and went all in. We tackled some difficult subject matter and tried some innovative filmmaking techniques. Again, I was really proud of the end result.
Those are great examples, Paul. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on what it takes to be a visionary in the entertainment industry.
Thanks for having me. It was great to be here.
Paul, your range of performances in films has captivated audiences and inspired countless others to pursue their own careers in acting. Your career started with modeling and commercials before breaking into TV and film. Having experienced the ups and downs of forging a successful career in the industry, what advice would you give to aspiring actors who are trying to make their mark in the industry?
Well, I think the most important thing is to work hard, stay true to yourself, and keep pushing forward no matter what. When I started out, I went to tons of auditions and dealt with a lot of rejection. But instead of letting it get me down, I took it as an opportunity to learn and grow. I really studied my craft, taking acting classes and workshops whenever I could, and eventually things started to take off for me.
What were some of the challenges that you faced on your journey to becoming a successful actor?
One of the biggest challenges was being taken seriously in the industry. Early on, I was primarily known for my looks, which made it difficult to be cast in more serious roles. But I didn't get discouraged. I kept at it, and eventually my talent and hard work paid off. Another challenge was balancing work and personal life. Making movies is a time-consuming process, and it can be hard to find a balance. But I always tried to make time for myself and my loved ones, no matter how busy my schedule was.
What qualities do you think are essential for success in the industry?
There are several qualities that I think are important. First and foremost is perseverance. Success doesn't come overnight, and you have to be willing to put in the work and keep going, even when things get tough. You also need to have a strong work ethic and be willing to learn and grow as an actor. And finally, I think it's crucial to be authentic. Don't try to be someone you're not. Embrace your own unique qualities and use them to your advantage.
Are there any specific projects or moments in your career that you're especially proud of?
There are definitely a few that stand out. The Fast and Furious series will always hold a special place in my heart. Not only did it allow me to work with some amazing people, but it also gave me the opportunity to play a character that I really connected with. I was also really proud of my work in the movie Running Scared. It was a challenging role that required me to tap into some deep emotions, and I was thrilled with how it turned out.
Paul, you've had an incredibly successful career as an actor and have been involved in some of the biggest films of the past decade. You've worked alongside some of the best and brightest in the industry. With that in mind, I'd like to know who are some present-day visionaries in your field that inspire you and why?
That's a great question. There are a lot of people in the industry who inspire me and who I look up to. In terms of actors, I've always been a big fan of Matt Damon. He's someone who has really been able to navigate the industry and still maintain a sense of humility and grace. I also really admire the work that guys like Ryan Gosling and Michael Fassbender are doing right now. They're both really talented actors who are pushing boundaries and taking on different kinds of roles.
What about directors or writers?
Yeah, there are a few that come to mind. Christopher Nolan is definitely one of my favorites. He's just so innovative and is always pushing the envelope when it comes to storytelling. Another director who I really respect is Paul Greengrass. He's directed some really intense and impactful films like United 93 and Captain Phillips. He has this ability to tell stories that really resonate with audiences.
That's really interesting. Are there any specific stories you have about these individuals that you'd like to share?
Sure. One story that comes to mind is when I was on the set of Fast and Furious 6 and we were filming in London. Chris Nolan was in town at the same time working on The Dark Knight Rises. We ended up meeting up for dinner, and I remember just being blown away by his passion for filmmaking. He was so excited to be working on the film and was just really inspiring to be around.
That's amazing. What about Paul Greengrass?
Well, I actually had the opportunity to work with him on a film called The Lazarus Project. I was really impressed by his attention to detail and his commitment to getting everything just right. He would spend hours going over and over scenes to make sure that they were just perfect. It was really inspiring to see how much he cared about his work.
Paul, you were such an integral part of the Fast and Furious franchise, having starred in 6 of the 8 films. It's been almost 8 years since your untimely passing, but your legacy continues to inspire millions. One thing that always struck fans was your unflinching dedication to your craft and your passion for life. I'm sure filming the Fast and Furious movies must have been an incredible experience for you. Can you tell us what you learned about life from your experiences filming the franchise?
Yeah, man, it was an incredible experience. I learned so much from filming those movies. It was a journey, not just about the cars and the action, but about the people you meet and the lessons you learn along the way.
Can you give us an example of a lesson you learned from filming those movies?
Sure. One thing I learned is that life is too short. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow, so you got to live in the moment and appreciate every day. That's something that the Fast and Furious franchise really emphasized. We were all about living life to the fullest and enjoying the ride, both on and off the set.
That's a great lesson. It's something that we often take for granted. Were there any specific moments while filming Fast and Furious that really reinforced this lesson for you?
Yeah, man, there was this one day on set where we were all driving these amazing cars, doing these incredible stunts. And I remember looking around at everyone and just feeling so grateful to be there, to be alive and to be doing what we loved. It was a really powerful moment that just reinforced that message of living in the moment and appreciating every day.
That sounds incredible. Can you tell us about any other lessons that you learned from working on the franchise?
Yeah, I learned a lot about teamwork and the importance of having people in your life who support you and challenge you at the same time. Filming those movies was such a collaborative effort. We all had to work together to make it happen. And it wasn't always easy, but we found a way to make it work. That's something that's carried over into my personal life as well.
That's an awesome lesson. Do you have any specific examples of how that lesson played out in your personal life?
Yeah, man. When I was filming Fast and Furious 6, my daughter was born. And that was a challenging time for me because I wanted to be there for her. But I also wanted to make sure that I was giving my all to the movie. But my Fast and Furious family was there for me, supporting me every step of the way. They helped me find that balance between work and family. And that's something that's stayed with me ever since.
Thank you, Paul, for sharing that touching story about your Fast and Furious family. Now let's move on to a fun question. Your fans admire you for your adventurous spirit and willingness to take risks on and off screen. With that in mind, I have to ask, if you were transformed into a sandwich, what flavor combinations and ingredients would you have?
Haha, that's a good one. Well, if I had to pick a sandwich combination, it would probably be something like a turkey avocado BLT with a little bit of jalapeno for spice. I like my sandwiches with a bit of kick.
That sounds delicious. So, Paul, speaking of adventures, I've heard that you are quite the car enthusiast. Can you tell us a little bit about that passion of yours?
Oh man, my love for cars goes way back. It started when I got my first car, a Nissan 240SX when I was 16. From there, I started modifying and tinkering with cars, learning how to work on them myself. I just love the feeling of being behind the wheel and the rush of speed and power.
I've also heard that you were involved in the development of a racing video game. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, that was an amazing experience. I was approached by a game developer who wanted to create a game that captured the thrill of street racing and car culture. I was really passionate about the idea and wanted to be involved in the process, so I became a producer on the game and worked closely with the team to make sure it was authentic and true to the car community.
That's really cool. So, what's the fastest you've ever driven a car?
Haha, well, there have been a few times where I've pushed the limits. I remember one time I was driving on the German Autobahn and got up to about 180 miles per hour. That was a rush, to say the least.
Wow, that's insane. Did you ever get into any trouble with the law for your love of fast cars?
I plead the fifth on that one. Let's just say I've had my fair share of run-ins with the cops.
Well, Paul, it's clear that your love for cars and speed was a big part of who you were. Your fans and the industry still mourn your passing and the loss of such a talented and passionate individual.
Thank you, it means a lot. I just hope that my legacy can inspire future generations to pursue their passions and live life to the fullest.
Paul, tell us something about your life that many people don't know, but has influenced you as an actor and a person today.
Well, I grew up near the ocean in Southern California, and my dad was a two-time world champion kickboxer. So staying active and playing outdoors was just part of my childhood, and that's something that I've carried with me through my life.
That's fascinating. What kind of outdoor activities did you enjoy?
I was always in the water, either surfing or diving or playing beach volleyball. I also loved riding dirt bikes and mountain bikes and anything that involved going fast on two wheels.
That love for speed and the outdoors definitely comes through in your roles, particularly in the Fast and Furious franchise. Was there a specific moment from your childhood or early career that stands out as having had a profound influence on your approach to acting?
Yeah, when I was 15, I did a commercial for Pampers diapers. It was my first acting gig, and I remember how nervous I was. But I loved the thrill of it, the rush of performing in front of the camera. And that's when I realized that acting is what I wanted to do.
That's amazing. From a commercial for diapers to starring in blockbuster action movies, what did you take away from that first experience as an actor that you still carry with you today?
I think what I learned from that experience is that being yourself on camera is what really connects with people. If you can bring an authentic energy to a role, no matter how big or small, that's what will make it memorable for the audience.
That's great advice, and it's something that you've definitely embodied throughout your career. Thank you for sharing these stories with us, Paul.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Paul, it is such an honor to have you on the show today. Your talent and kind heart touched so many people during your career, and it's a privilege to have the chance to talk to you. I'm sure our listeners would love to hear about your life and journey as an actor. Looking back, is there anything you wish you had done differently in your life or career?
Good question. Well, I try not to have any regrets in life, you know. Everything I've done has led me to where I am today, and I am grateful for that. But there are certainly moments I wish I could do over or decisions I would have made differently.
Can you share one of those moments with us?
Sure. Years ago, when I was first starting out in the industry, I received an offer to star in a movie. The script was great, and the character was something I could really sink my teeth into. But I turned it down because the pay wasn't what I was hoping for. Looking back now, that was a mistake. It wasn't about the money, it was about getting the opportunity to take on a challenging role and showcase my abilities as an actor.
That's interesting. So, you wish you had taken on the role despite the pay?
Exactly. I've learned over time that the roles and the projects that challenge you and push you out of your comfort zone are the ones that help you grow the most, both personally and professionally. I try not to make decisions based solely on finances, but to focus on the art and the creative challenge.
It's incredible to see how much you valued growth and personal development in your career. In light of that, is there a particular role or project that you felt had the most significant impact on your life and career?
Oh, for sure. Doing the Fast and Furious franchise was a game changer for me. It was a big risk when I signed on for the first one, but it ended up being one of the best decisions of my career. The franchise was more than just a set of movies, it was a family. The cast and crew became some of my closest friends, and the fans became part of that family too. It's an experience that will always have a special place in my heart.
Paul, it's great to have you here today. Fans are always curious to know more about their favorite celebrities beyond their public image. So, when not in the public eye, how do you like to spend your time, and what hobbies or interests do you enjoy pursuing?
Yeah, man, I hear you. Honestly, I like to keep it low key. Spend time with family and friends, go surfing, hit the beach. I like living the simple life.
Sounds like you enjoy the outdoors. Did you grow up near the ocean?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Born and raised in Southern California. Spent a lot of time at the beach growing up, surfing and hanging out with friends.
Speaking of surfing, I heard that you once used your surfing skills to rescue a family of 6 from drowning. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, that was a crazy day. I was surfing with my buddies when we heard people screaming for help. We saw a group of people struggling in the water, so we swam over to them. I managed to get the youngest child on my board, and my buddies helped the rest of the family onto theirs. We paddled everyone back to shore, and luckily everyone was okay.
That's incredible. You really are a hero. Do you have any other interests or hobbies?
Yeah, man, I love cars. I've been into cars since I was a kid. I raced motocross when I was younger, and then I started getting into cars. I've always loved the speed and the adrenaline rush of pushing a car to its limits.
I heard you were really into the Fast and Furious franchise. How did you get involved with those movies?
Yeah, man, the Fast and Furious franchise is something special to me. I got involved in the first movie back in 2001, and it's been an incredible journey ever since. The franchise is all about the cars, the action, and the family bond between the characters. It's been amazing to be a part of that.
You and the rest of the cast seem to have a great bond on and off screen. Is that true?
Absolutely. We're like family. I've known Vin Diesel for almost 20 years now. We've been through a lot together, and our relationship goes beyond just working on movies. We genuinely care about each other, and I think that comes through in our performances on screen.
Paul, thanks for joining us today. You've had a really long career as an actor, and it's been amazing watching you on the big screen all these years. I was wondering, is there a particular person or experience that has had a big impact on your life or career that you're willing to share with us?
Yeah, sure. I would say that one of the biggest influences on my life was my grandfather. He was a really wise man and had a lot of amazing stories to tell. He was really good at giving advice, and I always looked up to him.
That's really cool. Can you share an example of some advice that he gave you that really stuck with you?
Yeah, for sure. I remember one time he told me, if you're going to do something, do it right. That's something that's stuck with me ever since. I try to apply it to everything in my life, my work, my relationships, everything.
That's great advice. Do you think that's had an impact on your career too?
Definitely, when it comes to my work, I always try to give it my all and do the best I can. I don't want to just phone it in, I want to make sure that I'm doing justice to whatever project I'm working on.
That's really admirable. Can you think of any specific experiences that were particularly influential for you?
Yeah, one that comes to mind is when I was filming the movie Varsity Blues. That was a really intense shoot, and we were all living together in this small Texas town. We really bonded, and it was an amazing experience. I learned a lot on that shoot, and it really helped me grow as an actor.
That's awesome. Do you have any other experiences that stand out?
Well, another one that comes to mind was working on Fast and Furious. It was such a huge franchise, and it was amazing to be a part of it, but it was also really challenging. We were filming in all these different locations, and we had to do a lot of our own stunts. It was a lot of hard work, but it was also really fun, and it was a great experience overall.
Thank you so much for sharing those stories with us, Paul. It's been great talking with you.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
As we come to the end of our conversation, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the incredible Paul Walker for joining us today. Your dedication to your craft and your inspiring spirit have left an indelible mark on the world, and we are honored to have had the opportunity to speak with you today.
Thank you for having me. It's been great to be able to share my journey and experiences with you.
Before we wrap up, we want to give you the opportunity to say anything you would like to your fans who have supported you throughout your career. As a tribute to one of your most iconic characters, Brian O'Connor, is there anything you would like to say?
Absolutely. To all my fans out there, I want to express my deepest gratitude for your unwavering support. It means everything to me to know that there are people out there who have been touched by the work I have done and the characters I have played. Brian O'Connor was a character who embodied the values of family, loyalty, and determination, and I hope that his example will continue to inspire people to live their lives with those values in mind. Thank you all for being a part of this journey with me.
Those are truly inspiring words, Paul. Thank you so much for sharing them with us. We wish you continued success in all your future projects.
Thank you. It's been great talking to you. Take care, and I'll see you all soon.